Welcome, everybody. I'm Lady.
And I'm Alana.
And this is Spookery. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this. Welcome to this.
Welcome to this.
Welcome to this. Welcome to my first real case of the season. No spoilers,
Jesus.
but spoilers. Welcome to this. Welcome to Lady episode 2 of season 2 of Spookery.
But it's really episode 3.
It's really episode 3.
That's confusing.
It's very confusing, but it's my second episode of this season. It's my unsolved mysteries episode of this season.
Ooh.
I know. So spoiler alerts ahead. It's unsolved.
It's unsolved. What?
Unsolved. My unsolved mystery is unsolved, everybody. But I think it's going to be a really good one. I think this is going to be, especially coming off of the high of last week's episode with the Frozen episode. I'm riding that high right now. It's just like, she's doing so good. I'm also going to do really good. So,
you're going to freaking kill it. I'm here for it.
So I think I said last week that this case is kind of more of like a personal one for me, kind of like with Taylor Poe with yours. You know, you grew up with that story. This one's personal to me, but for a very different reason.
Okay.
Basically, for some spookery context, both Alana and I got very sick last year. Very sick.
Yes.
And we got into a couple of shows that really kind of inspired us, like, we can just do that. We can talk about spooky stuff and we can be horrible. But before we even got into the idea of spookery, we would swap spooky stories with each other.
Yes, we would.
And this one was actually one that I told you about very casually. Way back when. This is like early spookery, which is why it's so special to me. This is a story that whenever I think about it, I think about you immediately for multiple reasons.
Oh, I love this.
But it's a very personal story, and I literally wrote this for you. I was thinking about this story to tell you because I knew you would love this story when I was, really, really unwell. So I really wanted to tell you it. I want to tell you it in all its glory because it's a story that's worth telling. It's an unsolved mystery, but I also think it's quintessentially Alana. It's
Wow.
kind of what got me into wanting to tell you about spooky stories. So,
Man, oh my gosh, I am getting actually choked up over here. I'm so excited. I was already really excited. I always love hearing your stories, truly, but wow, now this, I don't know, this is going to be so special. What a special episode.
Yes, this one's really near and dear to my heart. It's not that I grew up with this story in particular. I think I teased last episode that this is it's the same geographical location as my last case. And for those of you who figured it out, it's England. It's the place that I'm originally from. Because spoiler alert, it's an English story. But it's not one that I grew up with personally. I didn't grow up with this story. It's not the area of England that I came from.
Gotcha.
But it's one that's been cycling in my brain for years. And then when me and Alana started talking about spooky stories before Spookery, this is one I wanted to tell you. So I think you're going to recognize the title right away. You're going to be like, this one. It's going to be another Bonnie and Clyde moment.
Yes. Okay. Let's go.
All right. So the unsolved mystery that we will be talking about today is a little story called Who Put Bella in the Wych Elm.
Oh my god, we're finally doing this! Oh my gosh! This is literally this is the cover for Spookery. This is the story. If someone was gonna come into the Spookery and say, what episode should I start with? This episode's not even out yet, but this is the answer. This is the answer. Oh my gosh, we're finally doing
it. This is a story that you and I talked about eons ago, and it was because you were telling me about corpse flowers.
Yes.
And I was like, it reminds me of the story Who Put Bella in the Wych Elm, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I never went into any detail because I didn't know the detail.
Yes. And we said one day we'll talk about it, we'll do the research, and we'll talk about it, and here we are, doing the research,
I did it. I found the context, I did the story for you, and I was like, I gotta tell Alana this story. I gotta tell her. So
this is such a special episode. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited.
It's for you, Damien. It's all for you. I literally, as soon as I got unsolved, I literally went, I think you guys heard it, I think it's at the end of the episode of Muffin Man. I went through my spreadsheet and I was like, fuck, I know which story I'm doing. Because literally at the top of my spreadsheet, it's the second case from the top is Bella in the Wych Elm. unsolved mysteries, and I was like, that's how Spookery began, baby. This is the story that started it all, on my end at least.
Yeah.
This is the story where I actually started writing a fan fiction for you. If you
yes,
remember.
I remember. I do remember. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Fan fiction's the wrong word. I wrote inspired
story. Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, will it ever see the light of day? I don't know. But it's a very personal story to me. It's a very special story to me. It's a story that I wanted to tell you for ages. That's why I said that your shirt that you're currently wearing is very on point for today, because we're talking about trees, baby.
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. Wow. I literally my heart is just, I wish you could feel it right now. I'm so excited. This really is like the roots of Spookery have like finally, you know, sprouted, and they're here, and we're telling it in season 2. It just feels like the perfect time. Like we're seasoned enough to finally like tell such an important story and like go through this. Like, wow.
I finally feel like I'm experienced enough to be able to tell this story, because it's a tough story to tell. And it's very, I know, it's very important to both of us, just because it kind of is what brought us like spookily together. And just,
man.
So
it's the origins of Spookery, like you said, the shadows, like the things that just, it was there before it was even there.
Yeah, these are the bones.
Yeah.
No puns intended, but these are the bones of Spookery that we're gonna be talking about today. So,
oh my gosh, well, tell me the story.
I shall tell you the story of who put Bella in the Wych Elm.
Yes.
So, to set our scene, our story takes place in Hagley, which is a small parish in Worcestershire, England. And I believe it's also pronounced Worcester, but I like to say Worcestershire because there's a shire at the end.
Ah, okay.
Specifically, we're going to be talking about Hagley Wood, which is a small, like, forested area as part of the Hagley estate, which is, I think, a little bit north of Hagley. It's a large, expansive wooded area. It's about 350 acres, or 1.4 kilometers, if you're thinking that way. It also exists near a little hill, which is called Witchbury Hill, which I thought was amazing and kind of, like, spooky in its own way. It's also important later, so remember the name, Witchbury Hill.
Witchbury Hill.
Witchbury Hill. So, that's our scene. That's our setting.
Okay.
Let's talk about the time period that this story takes place. We're going to hop in the Wayback Machine all the way back to 1943.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't know if you remember.
Are we sure it's 1943? It's not 1843?
Don't call me out this way.
I'm just double checking.
Yes, we are in the 19s. I am not confusing this. It's not 1843. It's 1943.
Okay.
I live in eternal shame. I've double checked. I've written like the dates like 6 times in order. Like, remember, it's 1943. It's 1943. It's 1940. It's 1943, lady. You can't fuck this up again. They can't let you know this is an important story. Can't fuck it up. So, we're in 1943. I almost said 9043. 1943. Fuck's sake. All right.
I'm sorry. You were doing so good and I spoiled it.
No, it's all good. We're in 1943. Now, I'm not sure if you know, but 1943 is smack dab in the middle of something called World War II.
Oh,
we are
that shit.
Centerfold of World War II. Technically, 2/3 of the way through of World War II, if you're thinking about it in a British context, but that's beside the point. Times are really, really heckin' tough in this time period. Throughout the war, I should say, Britain was constantly being bombed by Germany. We were in something called the Blitzkrieg, which is like the German planes would fly over English countryside and just drop bombs, just constantly.
Oh.
British houses would have to have like blackout curtains. You couldn't have your lights on after a certain point so that they couldn't figure out where the cities were. It wasn't uncommon to find out that your neighbor's house had gotten bombed. They were like small detonation bombs, so they weren't like take out entire streets, but there was enough to take out an entire house, especially if you got 3 or 4 of these bad boys landing on you. It also wasn't uncommon that people would have their own bunkers. They would have them in the back garden or in their basements or wherever they could build like these shelters where you would just, as soon as you heard that siren, that bombing siren, you just knew that you were hunkering down for a couple of hours and you would just listen to the bombs fall and just hope your house was standing. It's really, really awful time.
Yeah.
By 1943 specifically, supplies and rations were in incredibly short supply. So like being able to get hold of like basic like rations, basic food, really, really, really hard. Like some things were just flat out unobtainable, if not like sold at a premium. And like people didn't have money. Like you were so busy like repairing your living space or moving or like relocating your family. There wasn't a lot of money.
Yeah.
Conversely, weirdly enough, the spirit of the community was at an all-time high. Like, the morale in England really fucking high. It was like, we are taking care of
Wow.
our neighbors. It was a really big sense of like union at the time. People were like, I don't know who you are, but I'm going to take care of you. You can come stay in our bunker if you need to. People were really looking out for each other. Like strangers in like less bombed areas were offering to take people's kids, being like, you can come with me. They can come live with me for a little bit. Just until the Blitzkrieg is over, when the war is done. Like, people were really looking out for each other. I think it's a lot of this is attributed to Winston Churchill. You know, he's just like, you can bomb us as many times as you want, but England is not going to give up to the Nazis. We're just not. So, lots of rallying, lots of community. So that's just something to keep in mind during this case. There's a lot of, it's a really awful time, but there's a lot of, like, we're looking out for each other at this time.
Yeah.
Despite, you know, feelings of community, despite feeling of, you know, camaraderie, it's a war-torn nation, so... Real nasty.
Yeah, it sounds miserable, but it is nice to hear that there is so much, like, camaraderie and just looking out for your neighbor, you know? Takes a village.
Yeah, 100%. And this particular story takes place in more rural England. We're in the Midlands. So, not like populous city London, it's not like Yorkshire. It's not one of the big cities, but it's dealing with this. So, April 18th, 1943, Hagley Wood. 4 young boys found themselves trespassing on private property.
Oh, no.
I think this is the best way to start any story.
Yeah.
4 young boys were trespassing on private property, and they were looking for birds' nests.
Why?
So kind of like one of the things back in the day was, it was actually a very normal thing to do. You were on the hunt for birds' eggs, because 1, they were a source of food, but 2, you could sell them, and it was actually a pretty common, like job at the time. You would go out to like these hunting ranges and you would look for birds' nests or any animals that had kind of survived the Blitzkrieg, and then that was dinner. That was like you set up.
Okay.
You could also sell the eggs and get a little bit of money if you needed to patch some things or fix things, or you could trade them for other things.
Very resourceful.
Very resourceful. And there's a lot of like public wood that you could go do this in, but they were in private wood at the time, so it was trespassing.
No, boys.
The boys. So the boys were Robert Hart, or also Bob Hart, I think he's sometimes referred to, Thomas Willits, Bob Farmer, and Fred Payne.
Okay. Great names.
Really, very British names, right? Very, like, these are British boys. Now, these boys were trespassing because in 1943 specifically, the land was owned by Viscount Cobham. I said his name wrong. I said Cobham. It's Cobham. Viscount Cobham.
Oh, wow. That sounds like he's got good eggs in there, so...
From what I can understand, this position actually doesn't exist anymore. There's no longer Count Cobham role. I think it was absorbed into a larger title later down the line, a little bit more recent history. But at the time, he was a really big heckin' deal.
Gotcha.
And they were like, fuck, this guy, he owns Hagley Estate, he owns Hagley Wood, it's his land.
Yeah.
So the boys were in Hagley Wood because they were on the hunt for bird eggs, which was, you know, as I said, a normal thing to do at the time. The boys were somewhere close to Witchbury Hill, somewhere approximately, when they came across a very large elm tree.
Oh, no.
A wych elm, specifically.
Oh, no.
So now, let's talk about wych elms for a hot second.
Yeah.
A wych elm, spelled W-Y-C-H, not W-I-T-C-H.
Of course.
A wych elm, because we're swanky. It's also called a Scots elm, and it is actually one of the most common types of elm tree in the north and west of the British Isles. So it's pretty common. It's also pretty common across Europe. They typically reach 40 meters or 130 feet in height.
Oh, wow. Big.
They're big trees. They're real big trees. And they're also known for their short trunks and like a crown of top branches that kind of make a bowl shape, so they kind of like scoop upwards.
Okay.
Think of like the scalp massagers that are like, they look like whisks. They look a bit like that. That's what a wych elm looks like.
Okay.
Wych elms get their name from the Old English word wicca, W-I-C-E, Weiss, wicca, which means pliant or supple.
Pliant or supple.
That word also lends its name to wicker, like wicker basket, as well as the word weak, as in I am feeble and very, supple and pliant.
I see, okay. Good origin.
It's a great origin story. These trees are also referred to as witch hazel. If you're thinking about like old classic witchcraft, this is the witch hazel. Not to be confused with the traditional witch hazel. Very confusing.
Yes, very.
This has been Plant Facts with Lady. Thank you very much. I don't know much about plants. Alana is like the plant queen. I kill plants by looking at them funny. So I'm trying.
I'm learning. I don't know a lot about trees.
I'm trying to plant fact you. Is it working?
I'm allergic to most trees,
so
I don't know a lot about them. But I believe you.
I please do. I looked into this.
That sounds all legit. But I mean, so did the Muffin Man, and here we are.
You know, you never know with me in British cases. We just don't know.
I guess we'll find out at the end.
Find out next week if I was telling a lie again. Yes. Anyway, these 4 young lads, they see this tree and they're like, "That's a damn good tree." and I bet
those are my kind of lads.
that's a damn good tree. And they're like, you know what a damn good tree's got? Bird's nests.
Yes.
They're
For
like,
sure.
That's exactly what we're trespassing in this land for. So it's actually our boy Bob Farmer that attempted to climb the Wych Elm. Now this particular Wych Elm had a hollow trunk.
Oh.
Yes.
That doesn't sound good.
It's not good. It's never a good thing. When a tree has a hollow trunk, it's not a good thing. So Bob Farmer gets to the top of the tree and he peers inside. He sees a glint of white, kind of deep in like the mulch and like inside the bark, and he's like, "Jackpot, fucking bird's nest."
Oh no.
Like, we're eating so well tonight, boys.
Yeah.
So he reaches inside the hollow of the tree, and instead of eggs, pulls out a whole ass skull.
Okay. That's. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So Farmer kind of looks at this, and at first he's like, "Oh, it's an animal skull. No worries. Like, it happens." But he kind of look at it, and he's like, "But if it's an animal skull, it has some very human-looking hair, and some very human-looking teeth attached." And then he's like, "Fuck, that's a dead body."
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Why did humans?
Yeah.
Humans are pretty distinct.
They are very distinct. He's like, "That's an animal." Nope, that's not an animal.
Yeah.
So he described it later. There was a patch of small rotting flesh on the forehead with lank hair attached to it. The 2 front teeth were crooked. Now remember, these boys are here illegally. They are trespassing on private land that belongs to Count Cobham.
Ah. Okay.
So they're like, "We leave now."
Yeah.
We leave.
Yeah. This
We leave.
guy's got a dead body on his property. We're trespassing.
Yep.
That's not a good. Those things don't add up to a good time.
That's no bueno. They're like, "Not my." That's like, "Not my pain, not my problem." Like,
Yeah,
goodbye.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Yeah.
They're also like, they're not going to get in trouble over this. They're like, it's one of those weird things where it's like, yeah, we found a dead body, but like, we're going to get in so much trouble if they find out we were trespassing on Count Cobham's territory. So let's just go home. They're just like, fuck it. No bird eggs today. We're out of here. There's like, the day has concluded at 2 p.m. Like, nope, that is not for me.
Yeah.
So there's a couple discrepancies in some of the sources, but it's either reported that Robert Hart, or Tom Willets. It's either one of them. Tom Willets is the one that comes up most often, so I'm going to say it's him, but I've seen it in some sources that it's either one.
Okay.
But it was said that it was the eldest, which is Willets. When he got home, he felt really uneasy about the whole situation. He's like, it's not every day that you find a human skull in a tree.
Yeah.
And I think it was really plaguing on his mind. He's a good lad.
I was gonna say, you could try to ignore that, but like that's like it eats at you. Like you just be like, you know what, we'll just forget about it, because like that's a very understandable reaction. Like you just don't want to deal with it, but also like it's a human skull.
It's one of those things where it's like, I don't really want to get involved, and I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble, but like, it's not every day you find a human skull in a tree of all places.
Yeah, if you're not a sociopath, you're gonna eventually need to tell a person about that. It'll weigh too heavy on your conscience.
Yes, it did not take him long. I think it was the same day. He's like, "Mom, Dad, me and the boys, we were in Hagleywood, and we found a whole ass skull in a tree." And the parents were like, "That's a problem." So they called the police.
Well, as parents do.
As parents do, they're like, "Fuck, okay, let's go. We gotta tell somebody about this, because that's a whole ass problem."
Yeah, it's out of our hands.
So it did not take long for the police to arrive on the scene. I think it is literally the same day. The boys found it in the morning, and the police were there by like late afternoon. Police immediately begin to search the hollow of the tree, and boy howdy, was there so much more than a whole ass skull in there.
Oh no.
So inside of the hollow, police found a nearly complete skeleton of an adult woman.
Oh, why did I assume? I don't know. I assumed Bella was a child.
No, she is an adult woman.
I don't know.
But at this point, she's not Bella. She's just Jane Doe.
That's fair. Fair. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry for the spoilers,
don't read
people.
ahead.
Yes, I'm sorry. I assumed it was a child. I don't know why.
No, I mean, it's fair. We've really only just talked about finding a skeleton in a tree. I don't think we ever like got into her details when we were like before. So I think that's a very logical especially because it's like, when you think of a tree, you don't think of like the
There's not
trunks
that much
as, like,
room. Like,
there's not that much room. That's something to keep in mind with this story. There is not that much room.
Yeah, it seems like a really confined space.
Yes, it was a real confined.
Okay.
Now, I said it was a nearly complete skeleton because there was one piece that was missing. And it was actually one of her hands. So one of her hands was completely severed. And it was actually found outside of the tree a few yards away.
That's suspicious.
It's real heckin' suspicious, right? That's like, what the fuck happened there?
Yeah.
Yes. So out of what they found in the tree, her skull was really the biggest clue. So what Bob Farmer like pulled out of the tree, that was like, this is it.
Yeah.
She still had all of her teeth, which is incredible. And there was still some hair attached to the skull. Fragments of clothing were also found with her remains, including some blue crepe-soled shoes. I hope I said that right. It's spelled C-R-E-P-E.
So that's like creepy paper.
Creepy paper. She had some creepy-soled shoes.
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Crepe-soled shoes, which are basically just rubber soles on casual shoes. Very easy, very cheap shoes. She also was found with jewelry, specifically a gold wedding ring.
Oh, why does that automatically like make it so much? Because it's like, it just like immediately confirms that there's someone out there, like, at least you hope that's missing her, unless that's who did it. It's suspicious. Don't look at me like that.
I will. Don't read ahead of me.
Okay.
This is why this story is so interesting, because there's so much that you're like, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what we need. But it is an unsolved mystery. So keep that in mind.
I don't like that. Just don't remind me of that. Yeah, I forgot. I was so caught up. I'm like, oh, well, we'll figure this out. I'll figure this out. But you're giving me all the clues. I'll figure out the answer. But there is no answer.
We will discuss possible answers at the end. But you're right. It is like, oh, gold wedding ring, easy. Like, it's an adult woman, like, very unusual. She had very unusual teeth, which we'll talk about a little bit later. She had, like, the fact that her hand was measuring, like, someone's got to know something, right?
Yes.
And it's just that feeling of, like, what happened?
Perfect. I'm glad we were coming back to the teeth, because I have questions about the teeth.
Yes, we have questions. I will answer as many questions as I can. I will not answer all of them, because I don't know teeth like you do.
I don't even know that many teeth. I know some teeth.
I know the incisors, and that's it. Yeah. Incisors and canines, 2. I got 2. Molars, 3. There we go. That's it.
That's all you need to know.
I will ask no further questions. Perfect. So the forensic examination was performed by Professor James Webster, which I'm like...
He sounds smart.
Class British name.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he wrote a dictionary with that last name, Webster.
You stole my joke.
I knew you were going to make it, so I had to get in there quick.
That's so good.
Yes, Professor James Webster, no relation to the dictionary.
Okay.
He was Birmingham's Home Office pathologist. And he quickly identified the skeleton as female, who had been dead for around or at least 18 months.
Oh, wow.
So she's been dead a whole year and a half.
It makes sense. It sounds like she was pretty decayed. There was only a patch of flesh left. I'm surprised she still had her teeth. That was the surprising thing.
Yes, especially for how long she was dead. That's like, it was an incredible find that we had a skull that had all of the teeth in.
Yeah.
He also speculated that the woman's corpse was placed within the tree while she was still warm.
I don't like that. That's not a fun fact.
That's not a fun fact. That's why I didn't say fun fact. It really brings us back to last week's episode.
Yeah.
Like, they're not dead unless they're dead and warm.
You read my mind. Literally, that quote just like came across my mind, and I was like, it doesn't kind of fits. Like, it's just weird. I don't like it.
It's like warm and dead don't belong together. It's an oxymoron.
No, I don't like that.
Yeah. So he stated that she had her body had still been warm when she was placed inside the tree, and he said that if rigor mortis had already set in, there's no way the woman's body would have even fit inside the tree.
That was my first.
She had to have been. This is an awful word to use. She must have been pliable to get her in. I think I have it a little bit later. Her actual the skeleton's height was 5 foot, so she was a petite woman as well. So like there was barely any room for her to begin with. Never mind if she had already been like locked.
Yeah.
Rigor mortis is 7.
Gosh, that's so crazy to think about, like you said. And 5 foot, it's not that big, but in general, like you said, a tree, think about a tree, like the trunk of a tree hollowed out. Like there still has to be enough room for this tree to be standing too, so it's not like, it's not paper thin. Like, that's, God, that's just wild.
Like, it must have been like an old tree, but like even like the width that you would need just to get like a 5-foot woman in the hollow of a tree. That's wild. And I think she was feet down, I believe, because her skull was at the top. So like she must have been like placed foot first.
Jeez.
And like either curled or like narrow enough to fit in.
Gosh, that is an uncomfy feeling that I get imagining that.
Giving you the blood skis.
Giving me the blood skeeves. I love it.
So her cause of death was ruled as suffocation.
Oh.
Because inside of the skull's mouth was a piece of taffeta that had been lodged all the way in the back.
Remind me again what taffeta is.
That's a great question. I didn't actually look up the specific definition of taffeta, so let me just look that up. But I believe it was it's an underskirt fabric. It's defined as a crisp, smooth, plain woven fabric made of silk, acetate, or polyester.
Okay.
And because of what we know later, I'm going to say it was polyester.
Okay.
Unless polyester didn't exist in 1943, in which case
we don't know.
We just don't know.
Just was some fabric. That's fine.
We will address that during the recap.
Yes.
So taffeta was found inside the skull's mouth, and it speculated that it was had caused suffocation. Webster had this to say: "I cannot imagine a woman accidentally slipping in there. Neither do I think it reasonable for a woman to crawl into that place to commit suicide." So, yeah, he was like, she was put in there deliberately.
Yeah, he's like, this is very sus.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying that it was murder, but it's heckin' suspicious.
Official ruling is sus.
Yes. He was in big red letters at the bottom, just real heckin' sus.
Real heckin'.
Real heckin'.
Sussy baka.
Webster concluded by stating that she was likely killed nearby. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to place her in the tree before rigor mortis set in. He didn't make any mention of her being alive when placed in the tree.
I like how he just skillfully avoids that question.
Yeah, he was like, I don't even really want to entertain that thought that she was alive when she was put in the tree, so we're just going to say she died in this area.
It's a pretty grim thought, especially in this time where things are already so, fucking grim, and it's just, people are really doing everything they can for each other. Who wants to, imagine that someone did, you just don't want to even go there in your brain. I understand him wanting to protect his own sanity in that regard, where he's just I can't even, she died here, that's where we're gonna end the thought for myself, so. Literally,
that's that on that, guys. I will answer no further questions.
Yeah, so as much as I want more answers, I respect him protecting his own sanity on that. That's a solid answer. He answered the question.
No, 100%. That's what we know about our Jane Doe so far.
Okay.
The woman's body had a few distinct clues to it, thankfully. So that's a little handy. One being one of her hands were missing, which is really heckin' sus.
Yeah.
She also had very distinct teeth. I mean, even our boy Bob Farmer earlier was like, she's got some teeth. She got some teeth.
Gotcha.
The thing was that really identified Jane Doe's teeth was that the front two were crossed, so they kind of overlapped each other a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, so very, very distinct markings of the teeth.
So my question was about the teeth, and maybe you'll get to this, so I apologize if I'm reading ahead. Is that something that they'd be able to tell, were her teeth just naturally like that, or was that caused by something? You know what I mean? By an injury, an accident, or something like that? Did they just grow in naturally crooked?
It wasn't, there's no mention of it being caused by something. It's the way that people talk about it, it seems like it's a natural occurrance. Her teeth were just, her front teeth were just naturally crossed.
Gotcha, because that matters, you know what I mean? That's...
It does, 100%. Yeah, nobody says that they look like they were damaged or that they had been deliberately bent out of shape. It looked like they had her two front teeth naturally grew in.
So that was just part of her identity.
Overlapping. It was. It's an identifiable trait.
It is. Okay. Yeah. How did, you said, that's a really identifiable trait.
It is, and the police are like, jackpot. She's got really identifiable teeth. We can just hand it to every dentist in the area and see if they can come up with anything, because they've all got dental records, because that's how we identify bodies.
Yeah, that's easy. Sold, done.
Yeah. So they sent it off to all of the local dentists. They did it in Worcester, they did it in Birmingham. I think they did it in a couple of the southern areas as well. They mentioned specifically Worcestershire and Birmingham. They also ran extensive checks through all missing person cases to see if they could find a match.
Yeah.
Both searches came up with nothing.
Not a thing? Like, not even a single thing?
Not a single dentist or missing persons report matched the mysterious woman in the tree. There was no person who had all of these identifiable features.
What?
Remember, we're in World War II, so we have hundreds, if not thousands, of missing people from the Blitz alone.
Yeah.
People's houses being bombed, people going missing. There's thousands of these things to, like, just sift through and figure out, like, is there a 5-foot woman with, like, light brown hair, presumably, with weird teeth and possibly a missing hand, maybe married because we had a gold ring? Like, is there anything that matches? And there was nothing.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
She was just simply named Jane Doe.
Jane Doe. Wow, that is just... It's always so sad.
April 24th, 1943. The Hartpool Northern Daily Mail, which, like, what a name.
Yeah, it is.
They published an estimated description of Jane Doe's appearance prior to her death. And I feel like we should introduce something fun here. Would you like to be the one that reads the description, ma'am?
Oh my god, yeah. I get to play a part.
You get to...
What's my name? What's my character name? Like, gotta get
your
in...
name. Your name is Hartpool Northern Daily Mail.
I'm so here for it.
And you're a newspaper, and you're gonna post this.
Oh, yes. Her age is given as between 25 and 40, most probably 35. Height 5 feet, with light brown hair and dressed in dark blue and mustard color skirt. Blue creepy-soled shoes, size 5.5. All the garments were described as poor quality, and a wedding ring found among the bones was of rolled gold, probably worth 2 to 6... What, 2 6 a day?
That's it. That's what it said. That's verbatim what it said. I don't know what 2 over 6, 2 6, 1/3. I think it was probably worth 2 to 6 today. So
2 to 6 what?
A value. It was worth that. I don't know.
Maybe
No, that's why I sent it to you. I was like, maybe she knows, but I don't want to say this.
it's worth 2 to 6, maybe even 3 to 7. Who knows? Like, it's...
You know.
Oh my god, that's my favorite. I'm so glad I got to play a role.
There you go. Maybe that's not the last time we'll be doing that today. I mean, what? So, basically to recap, she was around 35 years old with light brown hair and irregular teeth in her upper jaw. She was around 5 foot.
So stupid.
They did. That's why I sent it to you. I'm like, she's going to love this.
They did.
She was around 5 foot or 1.52 meters tall. She had an imitation gold ring, so it wasn't real gold, or it was gold leaf, but it wasn't gold all the way through.
Okay.
And she wore a size 5 shoe, which would be a size 7 in the US.
Oh, okay.
She was dressed in poor quality clothing and had been found with blue creepy-soled shoes.
Creepy-soled shoes.
Creepy shoes. Blue crepe-soled shoes. Webster later came forward, and it was also implied that she had given birth to at least one child at some point in her lifetime. So he speculated that Jane Doe might have been a mother.
How did, like, this just adds to the mystery. Mm-hmm. This woman had a wedding ring and a baby.
Yeah, like, does she have a husband? Or does she have, like, an elusive lover who with promises of sweet nothings? Does she have a kid out there? If so, how old is the kid? Are they looking for her? Who has the kid, if the kid is still alive?
Who has her hand?
Who has her... Well, her hand was found.
Yeah, but, like, why?
Who had her hand in marriage?
Yes, yeah, who had her hand and then who took her hand?
Yes, why was the hand not connected to the body?
Gosh, questions.
There are so many questions with this case. That's why it's such a cool case, but like,
yeah.
Ugh. So, this vague description posted in a newspaper generated hundreds of leads. Like, people were pouring in. They're like, I know someone who's probably 35, height 5 foot, with light brown hair, dressed in dark blue and mustard-colored skirt. Like, yes, like, here you go.
But, like, did they make sure that this person is, like, or they're missing or gone? Like, they're just like, I know someone that matches that description, but, like, they're just, like, still working next to them at
They're my
work.
neighbor and they're alive right over there.
Yeah, like, that's, I'm like, I respect how many, like, leads came in, but were they good leads?
Were they good leads indeed, because every single one went nowhere.
Shocker.
No shocker. The people were pouring in with like, I think I know a woman. I think I saw someone. That person's alive. That person isn't alive. I killed them. I didn't kill them. Maybe I thought about killing them. I don't know. All of them went nowhere. So the police were like, okay, well, if we can't track her, let's try and track her personal effects.
Okay.
And the clue that they were like, maybe we can get something from this was actually the shoes, the creepy shoes.
The creepy shoes.
The creep soul
Not
shoes.
the wedding ring, the shoes.
Not the wedding with the shoes, because the wedding ring was fake, so.
But still, like, it's a ring.
It's a ring. Well, we'll get there. Hold on.
Okay.
Don't read ahead. So the crepe-soled shoes were traced to the Waterfoot Company in Lancashire, and investigators were actually able to track down all but 6 pairs of the shoes.
What?
Yes, so they figured out the manufacturer, they figured out like who had bought a pair of these particular shoes. They traced all of them except 6 pairs, which I feel like narrows it down. Like we have 6 pairs like not spoken for in that size, in that color.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's actually like really good detective work. Good on them.
They even figured out where these shoes, these 6 missing shoes, had been sold, and they had actually been sold from a market stall in Dudley, which is 11 miles from Birmingham, which is about 20 miles from Witchbury.
Yeah.
Where the tree was. Even still, nothing turned up.
Nothing?
Like, they were no closer to figuring out who Jane Doe was or how she got in the tree.
Wow. I mean, like, I really am shocked, like, that they were able to even try to do so much with what they had. You know what I mean? Like, because it seems like there's no clues, and they're like, no, we're going to track down all these shoes, like, and they did.
Yeah.
But that's crazy that it still amounted to nothing.
Yeah, and remember, this is wartime. Like, there are, like, 100 million other things that are happening right now. People are getting bombed. Like, food is on short supply. And they had the manpower and the resources to try and track this down.
Yeah.
Like, they were committed to try and figure out who this woman in the tree was.
Man. But it really shows the heart that these people had back then, you know? Like, they just cared about their communities, even people they didn't know.
Yeah, it was just like, here's a woman who had a life at some point, and, like, who knows, like, who took that away from her? We gotta, like, at least, because, like, if this happened to Jane Doe, who's to say it's not gonna happen again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So, case quickly grew cold.
Yeah.
We're in wartime. There are hundreds of other missing people. There's bombings. There's local horror. There are, there's so much going on, and there wasn't enough information. There weren't enough leads to kind of warrant keeping attention on when it was called at the time the tree murder riddle.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, what a name for a case, right? The tree murder riddle.
No wonder so many people were interested in it.
Right? I think it was such an intriguing case. I was like, of all the things, like, why a tree? Why a tree?
Yeah. Because that's clearly, like, that's to cover it up. Like, that's the, like, that's very intentional. Like you said, that's not a suicide.
No. So, this poor Jane Doe's case quickly got swept to the back burner. But not 6 months later, something really strange occurred.
Ooh.
So, end of 1943, beginning of 1944, some say December, some say January. The first instance of strange graffiti was recorded on Hayden Hill Road, Old Hill, which is 6.5 miles away. It read, "Who put Lou Bella down the Wych Elm?"
Who the fuck is Lou Bella?
Who the fuck is Lou Bella?
What?
Yeah.
Did you just get the blood skeeves?
I got the blood skeeves.
I got the blood skeeves. Oh my god.
That's like full rip chills, isn't it? Like, it's like, who the fuck is Lou Bella?
Who the fuck?
Who the fuck is Lou Bella? And Lou Bella is spelled Luebella. So, who put Lou Bella down the Wych Elm?
Oh my gosh. Spooky.
A second appeared in Upper Dean Street, Birmingham, which was 12 miles away, around nearly, if not exactly the same time. It read, "Who put Bella down the Wych Elm? Hagley Wood." So this is now very specifically like, oh, we're talking about Jane Doe in the Wych Elm.
Yeah.
In Hagley Wood.
Like, just in case that first message wasn't clear, like, let's clear that up for you. This is what I meant.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Like, I literally, blood skeeves, tears, oh my gosh, like, chills, goose pebbles. All of it. Goose pimples.
Can you imagine, like, just waking up? This is around Christmas time.
No.
Like, this happened, like, either right before Christmas or, like, shortly after Christmas. And then you're just minding your own business, and someone has graffitied in white chalk, "Who put Bella down the Wych Elm, Hagley Wood?" Like, you would be like, what the fuck? Humpst.
I'm kidding, my
So
blinky.
at this point... yeah, get your blinky down. I got mine too. I'm just like,
I gotta protect my toesies from the monsters.
yeah, you gotta protect your blood skeeves.
Yeah.
So, at this point, she's officially no longer Jane Doe. Now she's Bella.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering when that would come into play.
Yes, this is how Bella got her name.
Okay.
So, this also adds a whole new, like, mix of questions into this whole crazy riddle that we've got going on here. So, first of all, who the fuck is Bella?
Yeah.
Whomst is Bella?
Yeah.
Second of all, who's doing the graffiti?
Yeah. Like, if there's someone out there asking these questions, why are you not helping in the case, you fuck?
Yeah. Is it someone who knows Bella? Is it the killer and they're taunting the police?
Yeah.
Like, is it whomst?
Whomst.
Whomst wrote who put Bella down the witch elm?
Yeah, whomst the fuck.
Whomst the fuck? March 30th, 1944. The Evening Dispatch had this to say. Would you like to read this one as well?
Yeah. Oh god, I don't like this. The writing was too high on the wall to have been done by the boys, and the police are inclined to view that it is one of the work of someone coming into the city in the morning with the farm produce. Oh my god. I couldn't do a voice for that one. It spooked me too much. I'm sorry. I literally am shaking. That's just too spooky for me.
It's
what
real spooky.
The fuck? Some
it's
random
so
person
spooky.
coming into town in the morning, real quick, just doing some quick, creepy ass graffiti, and then just disappearing back into the night.
They were just someone in the crowd, someone who came in nice and early, where nobody, everyone was too busy to be paying attention. And if you look at the graffiti, it's actually not that big. It's not it was massive letters scrawled on the side of a building. It's I don't know. I'm gonna say it's 2 foot, maybe 3 foot, wide on a wall. I'll post pictures because there's pictures of this original graffiti.
Yeah,
it exists.
Oh my god, I want to see it so bad.
Yes, I'll post them all on Instagram, so you'll be able to see them all there.
Yeah.
It's very eerie, and it's the same handwriting for both.
Yeah. Okay, that was my question. You answered it.
Yeah, same handwriting. So this had the police and the people reeling. They were like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Whomst?
And how far away were they from each other again? These two,
So the first one was south of the Wych Elm, and I believe it was 11 miles. No, the first one was 6.5 miles away, south. It was in Old Hill. And then the second one was north, and it was 12 miles away from the Wych Elm.
Wow. So, that's kind of crazy. This is someone that was in both places. That's the part that's really eerie, right? If, one graffiti just showed up, maybe. But this is, someone who, it makes it almost like a boogeyman effect. It's I could be anywhere. I could be in your backyard. I could be your next door neighbor. You don't know.
Especially if this is potentially the killer.
Yeah, it's so creepy.
Yeah, and this is why I'm not certain if they appeared on the same day or approximately. And I think this is why people get confused of when the graffiti first appeared, because there's two, and they're 20 miles away from each other. So there's a distance. But
interesting.
There you go.
Very interesting.
Police and people were reeling. Was the graffiti a much-needed clue? Or was it a hoax? With someone just hey, that tree riddle murder was kind of fun. Let's get people talking about that again. If it was somebody who knew this Bella, why is nobody coming forward going, hey, I wrote the graffiti, I need you to solve my friend or family member's murder?
Yeah.
And who was this Bella person? Who's this Bella that they're referring to? Because we don't know a Bella. And was her name actually Bella? Yeah,
is it just a misdirection, or is that actually some sort of a helpful clue in some way? Who knows?
No leads came from this. Nobody came forward. Nobody said yeah, I did the graffiti. Yeah, I need, I know Bella. Nothing came from this.
I hate that.
It did, however, renew interest in the case. So now people were like, wow, it's kind of weird that this graffiti showed up in these two places. Now at least we have she's no longer Jane Doe, she's Bella. And so now people were kind of invested in this Bella character. Who is Bella? Why is Bella worth graffitiing walls over? Yeah. And how did she end up inside a tree?
Yeah. Wow. It really does spark so much interest.
It wouldn't be until 1970 when more graffiti would appear. So 30 years later, more graffiti appeared.
Same handwriting?
Same handwriting.
That's so weird.
Yep. So this set appeared directly on the obelisk at Witchbury Hill in Hagley Wood.
Oh my god, now it's right at the site.
And since the 1970s up until the 1990s, this graffiti would get renewed and reappear on the obelisk itself. It was never written in another town, but it was always written on this obelisk.
How often would it reappear?
I didn't say. It just said it happened sporadically through the 1970s all the way up to the 1990s.
Anytime they erased it, it just comes back.
So people would people originally would clean it because it was a public obelisk, so people could come up to it at any time. They could come, they could touch it, they could take photos. So it was really hard to keep track of. And so I think people originally started cleaning it because this is an obelisk, you can't do that. But then it actually, that changed a bit later. So throughout the 1970s, all the way to the 1990s, it would always be the same phrase. Who put Bella in the Wych Elm?
Oh my God, that's such an eerie question, but it's like we all want to know. It's such a valid question.
It's terrifying.
It's yeah. Oh God, it's just yeah. I don't know. There's a spooky aura.
Well, so here's the kicker, right? So the last time that this graffiti was officially put on Witchbury Obelisk was in 1999. And after that, the entire obelisk was fenced off, so people couldn't come up to it anymore.
Wow.
So in permanent large writing on the obelisk, it said for years, who put Bella in the Wych Elm?
Wow. That's crazy.
However, that all changed on the 30th of November, 2020.
Recent? There's like what? There's like recent updates on this? This is insane.
There is a lot of recent updates. We're going to go back in time again, but like, stay with me in the future for a hot second.
Yeah, of course.
30th of November, 2020, the famous graffiti on the obelisk, Who Put Bella in the Wych Elm, was mysteriously defaced and changed.
To what?
The words were changed to Hers put Bella in the Wych Elm.
Hers?
Hers. Hers.
It almost just sounds like random, like, you know what I mean? Like, they just kind of erase certain things, but it's also just like, why? Like, why would you do that? Like, so it's just, that's a lot of trouble to go through for nothing.
Mm-hmm. And it's, this is a tough update, because it's also speculated that this wasn't committed by someone who knew the story. It wasn't done in the same white chalk. This, locals actually speculate this is someone who didn't know the story of Bella in the Wych Elm. They just saw that like someone had graffitied the obelisk, and they're like, I'm gonna make that mine. They're gonna be a dick about it and change the tag. But of course the community was really upset about this, because this is a case that's haunted this town.
Yeah.
Since the 1940s.
And it's like a historical monument almost at this point, like you said, and someone defaces it. Like, the graffiti's part of the historicness of it, like.
Yeah.
Historicness.
And I mean, the fact that there were no like proper updates since 1999. I almost said 1999. Dates are a problem for me. So like, whoever the person is that did the original graffiti, like I don't know if they're still around that they can fix it.
Yeah.
Or they're in any capacity to fix it. So right now, as of today, it stands as Hers put Bella in the Wych Elm, but people don't think that this is related.
Yeah.
They just think that this is someone who was like, someone graffitied the obelisk, I can do that too.
Yeah, that's so strange. People do stuff without thinking, and then this is what happens.
This is what happens. But that's really all of the concrete clues we have for this case. That's where the context and the information ends. But that means that this is where the theories begin.
Yeah.
So, come with me back to the 1940s for a hot second.
Absolutely. I'll follow you anywhere, baby.
Aw, baby. Let's get into the theories, because I think some of these are really good.
Yes.
Cool. So, back in 1943, shortly after the first set of graffiti appeared, a possible victim was reported by a Birmingham sex worker. So, in this report, she stated that one of her fellow sex workers, called Bella, who was known to work along Hagley Road, had gone missing in 1941, 2.5 years prior.
Ah.
So,
okay.
Nothing came from this report. And I think that's kind of par for the course for the time period. So any sort of report that was filed by a sex worker or had anything to do with sex workers were very heavily discarded. It was kind of like, we still see this today. It's kind of like, it's considered a high-risk job. And like, they're like, that's just part of the job. Like, if you're going to be a sex worker, you're just going to end up dead. And it's such a disgusting way to think about things.
Absolutely.
Like, we even see it like when serial killers target sex workers. There's not a lot of like value that's put in their case, and like those serial killers are usually only investigated when they target someone who's not a sex worker.
Yeah.
They're like, oh fuck, now they're targeting like an average woman, and it's like, well, they were targeting women before. Like, just unfortunately, like you got hung up on their career.
Yep.
So the sex workers are unfortunately just considered less dead, and they're quickly forgotten. It sucks, but this is pretty much what happened to this report. So the sex worker came forward. She's like, hey, I know a girl named Bella. She went missing in 1941. And the police were like, sucks to suck.
Wow. That is so unfortunate that's like you said, it's not surprising, unfortunately, but it is just like, it's just disgusting to hear that it happens so often, like that it's like that could just be such a possible answer to this. Is just that it's just someone that the police were just so easily willing to forget. And that's just sad.
This theory is also called into question a lot because people are they're quick to point out the wedding ring, and they're like, if this was a sex worker, why would they have the wedding ring on them? So people are very like, well, like what, like is it this? Is it not this?
Yeah.
So this one, people are kind of like very wishy-washy with this theory.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
So something to keep in mind. Second theory.
Yes.
1945, 2 years after the discovery, a new theory was proposed. So Margaret Murray, an anthropologist and archaeologist at the University College London, was like, guys, I figured it out. Witchcraft.
Oh, okay.
Witchcraft, baby.
Explain.
I will explain. Murray proposed that Bella had been caught up in a Romani ritual called the Hand of Glory.
Oh. Okay.
Which is a very, like, ominous sounding name, right?
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Since some of the clues of the case kind of matched up to what this ritual entailed.
Okay.
So, the Hand of Glory, quite literally, is a dried and pickled hand, usually the left hand, because that's considered your sinister hand, and that's where a lot of left-handed prejudice comes from.
Interesting.
There you go. There's your fun witchcraft fact for today. But it was a dried and pickled hand of a hanged man.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. Part of this ritual, the hand was severed from a hanged man and combined with a candle made from fat of the body.
Ew.
Yeah, it's very gross.
Okay. Usually rituals are.
Especially like old witchcraft. It's all like, you know, the devil's teat and...
I feel like they tried to make them as grotesque as they could. Like they just, like, you know what, and some animal blood and, ooh, yeah, some feces there and, you know, just take some dry flowers and rub that in it. Yep.
Rub that in the wound.
Yeah.
Rub it right in. Release the spirits from the skull by puncturing a hole.
Literally.
Yes. In some versions of the Hand of Glory ritual, the wick of the candle is actually made from hair of the hanged man or victim.
Of course.
Because, you know, why not make it like 1,000 times worse?
Yeah. What else are you gonna do with the hair?
Yeah, you know, it's just sitting there wasting away.
Yeah, we try to use all the parts of the hanged man.
we recycle in this house. That's so awful. So, supposedly, when the candle was lit, it could render anyone it was presented to completely paralyzed or motionless. So it was like a way to like take full bodily control of whoever the candle was presented to.
It's a powerful candle.
It's a powerful candle. It could also only be put out with milk.
It's a very powerful candle.
It's a powerful candle. And in some versions of this tale, the light it emitted could only be perceived by the holder of the candle. So whoever it was presented to, they were the only ones that could see it when it was lit.
Oh. Huh. So you're like begging someone to put it out, and they're like, "It's not even lit.
It's not even lit. Like, help, please! The candle is burning, and I'm motionless.
Please
and
get your
like,
milk." And they're just like, "Nah, I'm not gonna waste my milk on this unlit candle."
Did you know how expensive milk is?
Yeah.
It's the 40s, baby.
It's a hard task. No wonder these things were so powerful. I wouldn't waste my milk on an unlit candle.
Things I never thought I would hear today. I would not waste my milk on an unlit candle.
That's a new sentence right there.
I want that on a shirt. Don't waste your milk on an unlit candle.
It's like an idiom.
Brought to you by the Spookery.
It's like an idiom, you know, like one of those like things like.
Yeah. New old phrase: don't cry over spilled milk. New phrase: don't waste milk on an unlit candle.
I love.
That's so good.
How did we get
heard it
here?
here first, guys. I don't know. We're only on theory too. The night is young.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Basically, people were like, "Hey, Bella had her hand cut off." Didn't specify which hand it was. Would assume maybe the left, because she was found with the wedding ring. So I'm like, that's usually on the right hand.
Yes, correct.
So perhaps it was her left hand, but I didn't specifically say. But as far as I know, her severed hand was not pickled or turned into a candle.
Sus.
Kind of sus. It also comes up into the question of, like, Bella wasn't hanged, and this ritual very clearly states that it requires a hanged man.
Well, she was suffocated.
Bella was suffocated. And I'm like, did somebody try and do like a botched version of this ritual?
Yeah.
And then basically they were like either talked out of it or like someone caught them and they had to quickly dispose of Bella.
That's a theory. I mean, it's I've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, I'm a little sus of this one. I'm like, I don't know how much weight I would put into this. I mean, if this was revealed to be the truth, would I be like, you know what? It's just as crazy as the rest of the story.
Yeah.
But this one I'm a little bit more dubious of. But possibly witchcraft. So there you go. All right. Theory number 3.
Theory number 3.
So, a new theory came to light. I think this one was more recently. It didn't say specifically when this theory started circulating. I'm going to say it was either in the 70s or the 2000s. I'm not sure. But a new theory for this case came to light when a MI5 file, which is the British spy network, declassified a case.
Oh.
So, the case reads as follows. On August 15th, 1941, a man by the name of Josefjakobs, or Josefjakobs.
I like
I believe
Josef.
he was Josef, like baby Josef.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's Josefjakobs, because he was German.
Ah, okay.
He was put to death
Oh.
on August 15th, 1941. And he was actually the last man to be put to death in the Tower of London.
Oh. Good for him.
No. Not that. So you go. The last person to be killed in the Tower of London was 1941. His name was Josefjacobs.
Was it 1941?
When he died, yes.
Okay, I was making sure it wasn't 1841.
Not 1841. 1941.
Okay.
2 years before Bella was found.
Okay.
Josefjacobs was a German spy who was tasked with parachuting into England to, do spy stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But during his descent, broke his ankle.
He broke his ankle on the way down. He tried to stay stooky. It didn't work.
He stayed stooky and broke his ankle. He broke his ankle and was left stranded in a field.
Gosh, that's the worst thing that can happen to a spy.
It's pretty embarrassing.
It is.
It gets worse. It gets worse. So he was stranded in this field. Didn't say which field, just a field.
Yeah.
And so to get help, he fired a gun into the air.
He sounds like the worst spy that I've met.
This is not what I think of when I think German spy, personally.
I'm gonna draw all the attention to myself. Someone will come rescue me.
Yep. Fired a gun into the air, alerted 2 local farmers, and they were like, what the fuck, who's shooting guns in the field?
Yeah.
Jacobs was quickly apprehended by authorities.
Shocker.
Because this man is shooting guns in a field. When he was caught, he was still wearing his flying suit that he was parachuting.
Oh, man.
And in his pockets, he had £500 in currency, a radio transmitter, forged identity papers, and a German sausage.
Okay, and also a book that said how to be a spy for dummies. Like,
Yeah. This is spy work made easy.
like literally.
One of our Googles, it was how to explain German espionage to a toddler.
Oh my gosh, this man. This is what not to do.
I can't believe he was caught. Like, I just don't understand.
Was he like, I really honestly, with how bad and comical this is, it almost sounds like a distraction for the real spy. They sent this guy out to cause like a scene, and there's a real person in the background doing something.
That's so funny you say that.
No way. Are you fucking kidding me, lady?
Also in his pocket was a photo. And now he claimed that this photo was of his lover. And the photo was of a German cabaret singer and actress named Clara Bauerle.
Ooh. She sounds beautiful.
She is stunning. There are photos of her. We'll post them on the Instagram. She was also a German spy.
I love that for her.
She had apparently spent a lot of time performing in the West Midlands, which is where Hagley Wood is, and could speak fluent English in a Birmingham accent. Now, Jacobs claimed that Bauerle was meant to join him on his mission once he made contact over the radio. But since he was caught in such a spectacular fashion, he doubted that she would be sent over.
Yeah. Wonder why.
Yeah. Here's the kicker, right? So, Clara Bowerly. Her first name was actually Hedwig, but she went by Clara Bowerly.
I would change my name.
Hedwig Clara Bowerly. Hedwig's a great name. What are you saying? I love the name Hedwig.
For an owl. Personally.
You got me there. I don't know. I feel like it's like one of those like old classical names. It's like, that's nice.
It is.
Hedwig.
It is nice. Not for me.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Your name's not Hedwig.
Exactly.
So you're fine.
All right. So Hedwig, Miss Hedwig out here.
Anyway, Hedwig Clara Bowerly went missing in 1941.
Sussy baka.
Her whereabouts were unknown for decades.
Huh.
And they were like, here's a woman who died in 1941, supposedly,
Yeah.
who ended up in a tree.
Yeah.
And it was actually heavily speculated that Bowerly had been sent ahead of Jacobs, was already doing her spy work in England when she went missing.
Okay, so I like this theory so far, but this woman was you said a cabaret singer?
Yes, a German cabaret singer.
Which means people probably saw her teeth.
Yeah.
So she probably had pretty recognizable face and features and teeth.
Don't read ahead of me.
Gotcha. All right, I will shut the up. Moving on.
As you very graciously pointed out, there are some problems with this theory. So, first and foremost, Bowerly was 5'10".
Oh, she's a tall lady.
She's a tall lady. Bella was only 5 foot, and Clara was 5'10". She's a whole 10 inches taller.
She got those gams.
So, she's a tall, elegant woman. And she's actually very beautiful. There's photos of Clara are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Clara was also a successful German cabaret singer. So why would she be dressed in poorly made clothes and have fake jewelry on her?
Well, she was a spy. That was a disguise, clearly.
My
Duh.
bad, I'm sorry.
Next question.
got me.
Next question.
That's it. We've solved it. We figured out who Bella is. Aside from the 10 inches, it's all solved.
Literally. That was also a lie.
Right.
She was hiding all the extra height in the creepy shoes.
There we go. We actually, so sorry. Bella was actually missing her femur bones. We thought she was 5 foot, but actually she was 5'10".
That was she lied. She's like, she's only missing a hand and the femur bones.
Just kidding. She's missing her whole leg. No. So the final kicker for this theory actually appeared in 2016. So Clara Bowerly. I really hope I'm saying her last name right. It's spelled Bauerle. And I'm like, I don't know how else to say it, Bowerly.
I would say it that way.
Yes. Clara Bowerly was discovered to have actually died in 1942 in Berlin.
Oh, how did they not know that?
I think it took a long time to find the records. Remember, this is World War II.
That's true. News travels.
People are dying left, right, center. People are being shipped into hospitals. People are mysteriously disappearing. They believe they found her death certificate in a Berlin hospital. She actually died of a lung infection due to veronal poisoning.
Oh, so it's interesting that, our Bella died of suffocation, and then Bowerly over here also had died to lung.
Yeah.
Something to do with lungs.
Yes.
Eerie.
It's a very interesting theory. For those of you who don't know, veronal is a popular sleeping medication. So it's actually not known if this was an accident, a suicide, or a murder.
Wow.
So, but it was confirmed that she did not die in a tree in England. She did officially die in a Berlin hospital. So people were like, okay,
Gotcha.
This is not Bella.
Yeah.
However, this theory opened a lot of doors to similar theories.
Ooh. Pourquoi?
Okay, theory 4. 1953. I think this was anonymously reported. It was brought forward that Bella might be a Dutch woman named Clara Bella Dronkers. Another Clara, which I think is kind of funny.
That is the weird similarities in some of these. I don't like it.
So, this theory goes that Clara Bella was killed by a German spy ring, which was made up of a British officer, a Dutchman, and a music hall artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like the punchline to a joke.
It does. A British officer, a Dutchman, and a music hall artist walk into a bar, and a woman ends up in a tree.
That's exactly it, yeah.
It's reported that Clara Bella, was killed for knowing too much.
About? I don't want to know. Don't kill me. I don't want to know. You can't even tell me the topic. I'll know too much.
Yeah, it's like I physically can't tell you because otherwise then you would know too much, and then
oh gosh,
it's to the Wych Elm, baby.
Gosh, this is a tough episode. I want to ask questions, but I can't.
I mean, this is where we're getting, like, the spy angle is very... It's very weird because it's like...
It makes me wonder, are all these women the same, like... Are some of these records faked? Is this like she had to fake her death here and then she's actually here, but then they actually find her body here? Like, I don't know. What if this is the same person, like, and there's faked records? That happens. Who knows?
I don't know. And it's one of those things where it's like there's so much that's probably like not just declassified. Like, the only reason we know about like the Josefjakobs stuff is because it was declassified. But I'm sure there's 1,000 World War II stories that have not been declassified because they're like they have such sensitive information. So the reason why people can't come forward with the Bella story is really because like her story just hasn't been declassified, and the UK government physically can't release that information.
That's entirely possible. Like you said, like the answer's out there. It's just not something that we're able to access right now.
Yeah, but these more open theories, they kind of allow room for those theories to breathe, where it's like just because we don't have specific names or numbers or dates or like actual identification doesn't mean that this isn't what happened. It's just that we just don't know.
Exactly.
I mean, even with this theory, there's not much else to it. It's just like 3 German spy ring officers killed Bella because she knew too much and then put her in a tree. And like there's no records or evidence or anything to back it up, but it's something you can't quite dismiss because it could have happened.
Very easily, like you said, just at the time, like just the climate of things, like who knows? She just could have been at the wrong place, the wrong sign, witnessed something, heard something, who knows?
Yeah.
And she just was a casualty in a wartime, you know?
Yeah, and if you think about it as well, I mean, like if she's working with 3 other people and they're all male, and they consider like her to be, you know, a free-spirited woman, like they could very easily have turned on her like, women can't keep secrets, we gotta kill her, put her in a tree.
Yeah.
Nobody will find her.
But true, like you said, it's so unfortunate, but it's so true, and it's just it has to remain a valid theory because of that. Like you just can't dismiss it. Like you said, it has to remain on the table until we know for certain.
I think, yeah, especially with like these kinds of unsolved mysteries, these wartime unsolved mysteries, they're like, until they're like flat out disproven, you can't disprove them.
Exactly.
So, there you go. That's theory 4. 35. 1953 was a good year for theories and cryptic riddles.
Oh, okay.
So, same year that the last theory came out, journalist Wilfred Byford Jones.
What a name.
What a fucking name. Like, these are such British names. Wilfred Byford Jones.
Yeah.
Wrote an article revisiting the Bella and the Wych Elm case. He's like, guys, it's been 12 years since this woman apparently died, and it's been 10 years since we like found the body. It's like, let's reflect back on this decade that it's been. So he wrote this article for the Express and Star newspaper.
Okay.
Of course, this article garnered some renewed interest in the case, and Wilfred received a lot of letters in response. They were like, wow, thank you so much for reminding us of this woman in a tree, this Bella and the Wych Elm situation.
Yeah.
However, one letter came in from an anonymous writer who went by the name of Anna of Claverley. Her letter was as follows. Would you like to read this one as well?
Yeah. Gotta find an Anna voice.
Yes. Give us an Anna voice.
Gosh, I don't know if I can do this. Hang on. I'm like, who's Anna?
Who's Anna? It's a good question.
Finish your articles. Read the Wych Elm crime by all means. They are interesting to your readers, but you will never solve the mystery. The one person who could give the answer is now beyond the jurisdiction of the earthly courts. The affair is closed and involves no witches, black magic, or moonlit rites. Much as I hate having to use the nom de plume, I think you would appreciate it if you knew me. The only clues I can give you are that the person responsible for this crime died insane in 1942, and the victim was Dutch and arrived illegally in England about 1941. I have no wish to recall any more. Anna.
Okay, so now if you got this letter, what would your thoughts be?
Bitch, what the fuck? Like, honestly, I'd be like, how is this? This is all you're gonna tell me? That's too, like, how dare you? How dare you? The nerve. The audacity. Like,
the audacity of this Anna.
Anna the Audacious. That's what they should call her.
Anna of Claverley, more like Anna.
What the frick? Oh my gosh. I don't know. What would you think?
Well, my thoughts are exactly the same,
Okay.
as were Wilfred's thought. He was like, Anna, what the fuck? You can't just write that in. and like be like, peace out, bitches, bye. That's all I'm gonna talk about. See you later.
Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah, that's not how that works. So Wilfred's like, hey, editor of Express and Star newspaper, B.E. Whitaker, look how weird this is. Like,
Yeah.
what do we do about this? So B.E. Whitaker was like, I'm gonna send this to the police because this is really fucking suspicious.
Yeah, as you should. Anna's super sus.
Yes. So
I bet her name's not even Anna.
don't get ahead of me.
I'm sorry.
Put that in your hat.
Okay, I will. Put
Put it in your hat. So Whitaker sends Anna's letter to the police. I can't.
I'm sorry, I threw you off. I'm reading your script.
You did. That was not what I was expecting you to say at all. So Whitaker sent Anna's letter to the police of Worcester, and from there the police made an appeal in the newspaper to Anna to step forward. They're like, hey Anna, you can't fucking do that.
If that is what your name is.
If your name is Anna, like, you can't just write a letter to the newspaper and like be like, that's all I'm going to say. That's not how that works, Anna.
Yeah.
So Anna responded.
Anna the Audacious. What did she have to say next?
Anna the Audacious herself, she responded. So December 3rd, 1953, they got the reply.
Yeah.
I'm going to this.
What did this bitch have to say?
There you go. So what did Anna have to say?
Oh my gosh. Had so much publicity not been given to Anna, I would have contacted you before. I will meet you and officers of the Worcestershire Sauce CID at the Dick Whittingham tomorrow night at about 8:30 p.m. and maybe I can help with the investigations if they are still interested. Subject to my conditions, to which I think they will agree, you, of course, will not advertise this meeting in your press. You have had many wild goose chases during the last few, you have had many wild goose chases during the last few days. Maybe this will be the last or the beginning of many. Who knows? At the Whittington, they had a bar on the left of the entrance called the Priest's Hole. Sincerely, Anna. This bitch. Who knows? Who knows? She says. Who knows?
Who knows?
Not Anna.
Full disclosure, this is exactly how I would write a letter to the police. I would be like, many wild goose chases you've had. Be a shame if there were one more.
Literally though, like, what a threat. Like, it's threatening, but like vaguely, and it's so saucy.
It is. It's very coy, isn't it?
God.
It's very like, oh, maybe I could give you the answers or maybe not. Depends on how much attention you're wanting to give me, but don't advertise this to the press.
Yeah, it would be such a shame if this were to get out into the press. Oh my gosh, this freaking lady, Anna, who I bet is not even a lady.
As a lady, I present that. So, Anna agrees to meet with the police. In this bar,
Priest's Hole.
Priest's Hole in Whittington.
That sounds so suspicious.
Yes, I think she met, if I remember correctly, she met with 3 police officers and this, the original writer of the article.
She actually did meet with them?
She actually did meet with them.
Oh, I wasn't expecting
She
that.
met with Wilfred. I think she was with Wilfred and 3 police officers.
I thought she was going to lead them on a wild goose chase. I thought she was going to be like, meet me here, and then not show up. Like, that was like classic Anna.
Classic Anna. No, she actually did meet with the police. She met them in the Priest's Hole.
Wow, okay.
Which is not a thing I thought I would say today.
We're 2 for 2 on the new sentences today. I wouldn't waste milk on that candle.
Don't waste your milk on an unlit candle. So, Anna meets with these police officers and this one journalist, and she is like spilling the tea.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, it was revealed that Anna's real name was not Anna.
Of course.
Her name was actually Una Mossop.
Okay.
I'm like, Una's quite a fun name.
Yeah.
But heck, did Una have a story to tell? So Una told the police that she believed her husband, Jack Mossop, killed Bella and put her in a tree.
Why did...
I'm like, that is quite the claim.
Yeah, that's bold. That's bold, Anna. Like, this is a bold lady. Man.
Yeah, Anna's coming in hot and heavy. So, according to Una, Jack was working with a German spy ring to smuggle out information about British munitions and aircraft details. So out of the West Midlands into Germany.
Okay.
Apparently Jack was working with a Dutchman who was only referred to as Van Rolt. And that was part of the scheme.
Okay.
Now, this is something that I find a little interesting about this detail, is that one of our previous theories also mentioned that they were working with a British officer, a Dutchman, and somebody else.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of interesting that...
We're kind of coming back to that.
Here's a British officer and a Dutchman. It's weird that this happened twice.
Yeah.
Like, if I had a nickel for every time this happened, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but it's weird that it happened twice. So this part of the story kind of differs, because I think it's gotten a little warped with time and, like, retellings.
Yeah.
So in one version of the story, Bella was an accomplice, which I think matches an earlier theory.
Yeah.
And she was becoming a bit of a liability. So Bella was quickly silenced by the two and stashed away in the tree to cover the trail of her killers.
Okay.
So we've seen this one before, and maybe this one came about because people were merging theories, or maybe this was the original one.
Like you said, the original being expanded upon, maybe. Who knows? Yeah.
Maybe. So that's one version. In another version of the story, Bella was not an accomplice. Mossop and Van Ralt had gone for a drink in a pub called the Lilliton Arms.
Okay.
I think I said that right. Lilliton Arms in Hagley. And were simply drinking the night away when the young woman passed out blind drunk at the bar.
I don't like where this is going.
There's no trigger warnings in this episode.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. So the two lads decide that they're like, you know what? We're going to teach this young woman a lesson for being blind drunk in a bar.
No.
The woman was referred to as Bella. So they took an unconscious Bella, put her in the back seat of their car, and drove her out to Hagley Wood.
Okay.
Now, the story was that the plan was to stash her in the tree to frighten her out of her excessive drinking.
What?
So they were going to put her in the tree, and then they knew that when she would wake up, she would panic. She'd be like, oh, fuck, I'm in a tree. Oh, no, if only I hadn't, drunk myself silly, I would have never ended up in this situation. And she would, see the error of her ways and then, climb out being reformed.
Yeah, this story is... That idea is as good as a muffin on a string. It just...
what a callback. So that is one of the things. So that's how the story goes, except that Bella didn't wake up.
Yeah, and her hand also mysteriously got cut off and left in a different spot.
Yes, and it also doesn't account for the taffeta in her mouth, the severed hand. So there's that.
I don't like this theory.
Well, there is a little bit of truth to this theory, because at any rate, after this alleged event with Jack Mossop, he started to have recurring nightmares, night after night, specifically of a woman trapped in a tree.
Oh, okay.
So it actually got so bad, these nightmares and this panic, it actually caused him to be institutionalized.
Which is what Anna said, that he went insane.
He went insane, and Jack Mossop actually passed away in St. George's Hospital in Stafford before Bella's body was even found.
In 1941?
Which is... he died in 1942.
1942, sorry.
Yeah, so Bella went missing in 1941. Jack Mossop died in 1942. Bella was found in 1943. So this theory is debated, often, because it took Una 12 years before she came forward.
Yeah.
So it's why 12 years?
Yeah.
And especially if your husband died in 1942, it's not like she's protecting him. It's not that's a little sus.
Yeah.
But it's probably the most in-depth theory we have. The fact that we have actual confirmed death, and the fact that Jack Mossop was institutionalized for nightmares and recurring mania. That's something to consider.
Yeah.
And maybe Una had her reasons. Maybe she was sworn to secrecy, or maybe she was living with this particular guilt, and she's like, no, I'm not going to let my husband be remembered as a murderer. But then something changed.
You never know.
I don't know.
Humans make weird decisions sometimes, and like you said, it's all a personal. She just woke up that day and said, "Today's the day." I'm telling the story. The secret's been a secret long enough. You just...
And maybe Una didn't actually remember the Bella story. Maybe she doesn't live in Birmingham, or I don't know where particularly she lived. Mm-hmm. And so it was only after she read the article in this particular newspaper, she's like, that's really weird. That kind of matches up to what happened to my husband. So there's that.
That's true. Huh. It fills a lot of questions, but it also leaves a lot of holes. A lot of priest holes. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
There's been far too much talk of priest holes in this episode.
Okay, the last time.
I hope so. So, now we're going to go back to the future.
Oh, okay. Back to the future.
2018. Bella's interest in Bella's case kicked up again. So, British anthropologist Carolyn Wilkinson created a facial reconstruction of Bella's face.
Oh, okay. More modern times, so this is updated.
Modern times, newer technology. Wilkinson was approached in 2017 by a father-son duo, Alex and Pete Merrill.
Okay.
And they were like, hey, do you think you'd be able to reconstruct Bella's face? And Wilkinson was actually approached because of her previous experience. See, Wilkinson had previously reconstructed King Richard III's face after he was discovered in a car park.
Wow, okay.
That's another case for another time, but it's a really cool story about this lost king and Wilkinson being the one that would reconstruct what he looked like. And
yeah, like what an honor to actually be able to get to work on such a historic case like that. Like you said, to give a king his face back. Wow.
Yeah, especially Richard. Well, he deserves his own episode, but Richard III was kind of like the black horse of like British royalty, and he had a lot of like negative propaganda around him, and then with him being rediscovered at the car park, it was revealed that a lot of it might not be true. But once again, a story for another time.
Oh,
yeah, it's a very cool case.
Interesting. That'll be a you case that you get to educate me on.
It's a very cool story. But anyway, back to Bella.
Yes.
So, Wilkinson successfully created a potential mock-up of Bella's face.
Okay.
So we have what could be Bella's face. The reconstruction was done at the Face Lab of the Liverpool John Moores University. And the recreation was made completely based off of photographs of Bella's skull.
Wow.
So I'll post the photo on Instagram, but it's like a full front face of Bella, and it actually shows the iconic teeth, the crossed over teeth in the front to try and help with the identification, because it was such a clear thing.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to see that photo. Do you have it now? Can you post it in the chat?
I will post it in the chat. I will find Bella's face. I don't have it saved because I'm a dum-dum.
No, that's okay.
It's quite an eerie photo, but it's quite cool.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what they think Bella might have looked like.
Wow. That's incredible. Mm-hmm. Jeez. It is great. Like, she really does look like such an identifiable person. You know what I mean? Like, a very unique person. Like, it is crazy that no one stepped forward. But
yeah.
it's probably for a reason, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and like I have my own theories. I'm sure you're starting to get your own thoughts as well. We'll talk about it in just a second. But I think I said something, and I think you might have missed it. So the reconstruction was done with photographs.
Yes.
Instead of her real skull.
Yes.
And you might be wondering why they haven't done any DNA testing on Bella.
Yeah, why haven't they?
Up until this point. Because Bella's missing.
What? Like, her actual bones are just gone?
Bella's body went missing.
Yeah,
all of
this
it.
just screams cover up. That's...
We got ourselves a Hainsworth situation here.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Bones don't just get up and walk away.
It was recently announced, and I'm going to say recently as in the early 2010s.
Wow, okay. That is pretty recent.
That Bella's remains, after being stored in the Birmingham City Police Archives, disappeared around the late 1960s to early 1970s.
Something ain't mathin'. The math ain't mathin'.
The math ain't mathin'. The story was that she had been moved around so much from station to archive to station to archive to this place to this place to this place that she simply got lost in the system.
No.
And so there's just a vacuum-sealed body somewhere in a police station, and we don't know where she is. And I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I am here for that. I don't know.
I mean, incompetence is possible across the board in anything a human touches, right? There's human error.
Yeah.
But that this is such a huge thing that I don't know who the fuck would not take the utmost care when handling these remains. I feel like...
Now, so this is a tough one, because they said that she disappeared around the late 1960s to early 1970s. But I'm also going to remind everyone that her body was found in the middle of World War II. And what happened in Hinterkaifeck was that the heads were taken to a police station, and the police station was bombed.
That is true.
So I do wonder if, Bella was taken to a police station, or, if she was in Birmingham or in Worcester or maybe she was taken all the way to London. If one of these stations got bombed, she might have just been destroyed.
That's entirely possible.
So, yes, it's really sus that she's missing, and especially because we're talking about spies and, declassified files, but it's also, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's confirmed.
Yeah.
It could also be that it was bombed, but it's also really, really heckin' sus. And the fact that they say...
We're on spy theory number 6, and it's just like, and then her bones mysteriously disappear. Okay, that's convenient.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. And the fact that they say the 1960s and 1970s is that's really suspicious.
Yeah.
Where, she might have just been destroyed in the 40s or something.
Yeah.
But it's just a whole other layer of mystery to this mystery cesspool that we're working with, so we don't know. It's not just a who is Bella, it's not just a who put Bella in the Wych Elm, it's also a where is Bella, why is Bella, how is Bella, where, we don't know anything. Everything is just a fucking mystery with this case.
It's just Bella, question mark?
Just Bella, question mark. That's the name of this case. Bella, question mark?
There's no answers to anything. We, you really, you teased me as if we almost had some answers to some things, and then we get to the end, and there's literally less answers than anyone could ever hope for.
I only gave you more questions.
You did.
It's this case is so it's almost mind numbing of how many questions there are, and how many people are maybe it's this, and it's it could be, but we can't prove it, or it could be this, but we can't prove it, or it might be this, but it also might be this. We just don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much mystery with this case. It's frustrating how much mystery there is with this case.
It's unbelievable. It really is such a good story to add in as an unsolved case, because this is the epitome of what an unsolved case is there's just no answers. There's no way for us to ever find them, it sounds like, at this point. It's just, we're plagued with never knowing, unless miraculously, someone's cleaning up some police archive one day and they go, hey, whose body is this? And they go, could this be? And
this case was officially marked unsolved in 2005, but that also doesn't mean that there's no hope for Bella, because we have cases like the Somerton man who have been unsolved for 80 odd 100 years, and they're getting solved.
Yeah,
people are figuring out it's a tiny clue. It's something will come of this. So maybe her body will turn up, or there's someone's randomly gonna go put forward of a missing person thing that was posted eons ago,
right? Or who
and
knows?
it might just be the key. And so I don't want to say that we'll never figure out what happened to Bella, because who knows what'll happen.
It's true,
but as of right now, her case is unsolved. I also have no updates on the status of the tree. I have no idea if the tree was cut down, if it's still there. I have no idea with what's happening with the tree. I couldn't find anyone. No one's talking about the tree, so I have no idea if the Wych Elm is okay. No one's talking about it.
That's half of the story. It's who put Bella in the Wych Elm, and the Wych Elm is not even, we don't know.
We don't know.
Man.
I also have another plant fact for you.
Yes, I'll take it.
I know how much you love the plant
Yes,
facts.
I love. Let's end it on a high note. Give me the plant fact.
I don't know if this is a high note.
Oh, no.
Would you like to know what a Wych Elm's greatest killer is?
What is it?
It's a thing called the Dutch elm disease.
The Dutch elm disease? That's so specific. What is that? What is it?
Dutch elm disease, it's basically it's a fungal infection that's spread by tiny little bark beetles.
Oh.
And what it does is it rapidly withers its host. But I thought that this was a really weird, coinkydink, because Bella is suspected to be Dutch.
That is really strange, and she was put inside this tree and kind of withered it and killed it.
I don't know if the tree is dead. We don't know the status of the tree, but there was a Wych Elm in the Bowley. I'm gonna say it is Bowley, Beauly. Shout at me if I'm wrong, Father.
Sure.
He might know. It was in the Highlands. There was this Wych Elm, and it was nearly 800 years old, and it succumbed to Dutch elm disease. So Dutch elm disease was introduced into the south of England in the 1960s, approximately when Bella went missing.
That's so weird.
And Bella was suspected to be Dutch. It's a fungal infection. It has nothing to do with anything, really. I just thought it was kind of neat, kind of creepy.
Man.
But there you go. This has been Plant Facts with Lady. Bella might be the cause of Dutch elm disease. I don't know.
I really need to know the status of this tree now because it has so many, like, that's, ugh. God, we're making a trip. We're making a trip to this Wych Elm.
Yeah, Spookery listeners in the UK, if you guys know the status of the Wych Elm, please let us know. I would like to know if the Wych Elm is still there. Like, go to Witchbury, go to the obelisk, let us know if the graffiti's been updated. I'm very invested, but as of what I saw, I can't find out the status of this tree.
You know what we should do? And this is a weird thing that I've seen people do to try to find like really specific locations, and you can cut this out later. We should go to Instagram specifically and maybe look up hashtags of this like thing, or on TikTok. Sometimes people will put like if they traveled somewhere. Like I'm gonna research, and we maybe have some updates on this. Like you said, I'm gonna find out the status of this tree. I'm invested.
Oh yeah. We gotta know. I really would love to be able to report at the end of our season 2 recaps that the status of this tree, because it's really I'm losing sleep, guys.
Yeah.
I need to know.
Oh man, I'm so curious. Man, what a great story though. Like, what a fun, like, just like you said, callback to like pre-spookery, our roots of what inspired us, what made us want to just tell each other spooky stories from the beginning. Like, this was the story you've been waiting to tell me since last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was August or September of last year was when we started talking about Bella the Wych Elm.
We need to say 2022 because who knows when people are going to be listening to this, right? Like, so
true. Yes, we talked about this in 2022, either August or September, because we were both really ill.
Yes.
And we were watching Only Murders in the Building and Ghost Files.
Yes.
And I think you sent me a comic about corpse flowers.
Yes.
And I was like, that reminds me of a story called Bella and the Wych Elm.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, and it was, man, that's it. That's the one of the many origins of spookery. Is this case? I don't know. It means a lot to me, and so I'm really glad that I could properly tell you the story of who put Bella in the Wych Elm.
I think it, like, the spookery spirits knew that you were ready to tell this story now. It was given to you at literally the perfect moment. You know, it wasn't something that, like, you know, season 1, it was like rushed into. It was like, nah, like, let's get some experience in. Let's get you nice and seasoned. Season 2, here we go, baby, and it's on the shelf. We told it. You told it so beautifully.
There you go.
I
am very curious, because I've told you a lot of theories today. We talked about a lot. Where are you kind of landing with this one? Like, what theory is kind of speaking to you?
So true.
And I'll reveal mine at the end, but I would love to hear yours.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad we're going to talk about it, because at first, like I said, your first theory that you proposed of her being, you know, like a sex worker of some sort and having like just the actual like murder of itself kind of thrown under the rug, because that's a story that unfortunately is told time and time again in so many different cultures. Like, it's not even just like specific to like an area, like one region. Like, unfortunately, sex workers are just never given that kind of respect, that kind of like just the time of day, to be honest with you. It's a very like they're just, I don't even know, if they're just given so much disrespect, and it's like, man, they just exist in the world. They're just people. It's wild. Mm-hmm. So that to me was like the first most believable theory. But also, the more that we talked about just how many other like weird connections there were to like some of these other like, I don't know, what was the name of the girl, the cabaret?
Oh, Clara Bowerly.
Yes, and then there was another Clara. Like, I don't know. Some of those coincidences, maybe they are just coincidences, and they're just that. You know, it's just a fluke. But
yeah,
a fluke is the most common fish in the sea. So I mean, like, I don't know. It's it's one of those things. Like, it's just like, could it be? Are these like for a reason? Are these pieces tied together in some way? Like, like, I don't know. Spies are just, you know, They change their identities. They hide in plain sight. There's so many things. Was I don't know. There's like, was this a distraction? Were certain things placed there as just diversions? Who knows? I don't know. My brain is still even going now. I haven't landed on like a specific theory, but I just do think that there was some sort of governmental interference in this. And like you said, I think her body maybe isn't lost. I think maybe it's just not being released. I think it's maybe part of something that like they just don't want to talk about.
Fair. No, this is a weird one, because it could also be something that I haven't even talked about. There's just like nothing to back it up. It's just speculation.
Truly.
Like, these are the 5 theories that I presented are the ones that are like mostly talked about, but I'm sure that there are 1,000 other theories out there that I just couldn't find. I mean, I scoured through Reddit. I don't even go on Reddit normally, but like I scoured through Reddit to look for like if there were like people theories of, like, and if they had anything to back it up. There was a really interesting one of like a newspaper that I found, and there was apparently a similar murder that occurred like 20 years later of another woman showing up at a tree found by 2 young kids.
Weird.
Yeah, and it was like that. I think it happened in the 60s.
Same. Was it also in England?
Yes, also in England. So a little bit more of like an Erdington kind of situation where it's like history repeated itself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is it just a common thing to hide bodies in trees? I don't know.
Yeah, that's so strange.
So there's a lot of information out there that is not easily accessible, it's not easy to find, and it's all hidden in old newspapers and witnesses who just don't want to talk about it. And it's like, or a bit like people who are affected by it who are like, I don't want to share that, it's not my story to share.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows what it really is. I have my place in the sand that I stand.
Yes.
Where what I think it is. And I tried not to let it kind of sway the story, because I mean, you also, you didn't land where I landed, which is good, which means I told the story as unbiasedly as I could.
Yeah, I have no idea what your opinion is even now. I'm very excited to hear it because I don't know.
So where I land with this story is I truly do think it's theory one. I think Bella was a sex.
It was just that simple.
I truly think it was that simple. I think she was a sex worker. I think the report that came in of the woman, like, my friend is missing, she disappeared in 1941. I think that could have solved the thing if people had taken it seriously, but people just weren't taking sex workers seriously at the time. Yeah. This one is the one that gets people shoot it down a lot because she was wearing a wedding ring, and people are like, well, if she was a sex worker, why was she wearing a wedding ring? I think personally where I kind of lie with this one is that Bella wasn't working that night. I think that she was either on her way home, or she was picking up groceries, or she like, if you look at them, there are like mock-ups of what she was wearing that night.
Yeah.
She doesn't look like she's if she was a sex worker, she doesn't look like she was working.
Yeah.
She's dressed very plainly, very like this is, I'm just dressed for the night, I'm just gonna pick up some groceries, or I'm gonna go down to the bar, I'm gonna she's living her life. What it looks like. And I think either a regular saw her, or somebody who knew she was a sex worker, someone who was who was just like, I can get certain services from you, and she's like, I'm not working tonight, I'm not going with you, and then someone got aggressive.
Yeah.
And I think she was killed accidentally by somebody who wanted something from her that she was not willing to give, and to hide their crime, they put her in a tree. But I'm like, Hagley Wood is a perfect place for someone to take someone if they wanted a certain service. It's a place that's hidden away. It's very
remote,
populated with trees. If something happened, if she was suffocated, strangled, something her cause of death is suffocation, but it doesn't say that the taffeta is what killed her. It might have just been shoved in her mouth post-mortem.
That's very true.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And I think, maybe she was married. Maybe she did have a kid, and she had to give it up. A very common thing at that time was like unmarried women having kids, and they would just give the kids up for adoption. Her kid could be out there alive, have their own lineage, and they just simply don't know that they're related to Bella.
That's completely fair. Wow. And with crimes, it's so true. Usually the simplest answer is the answer. And
yeah, I think it's fun to speculate that she was a spy. It's fun to speculate that it was like espionage and sabotage, and she knew too much, and she was this person, and she was this person. But I truly think that she just didn't have any family.
Yeah.
I don't think she had a lot of money. I think either she was married or either divorced and was holding on. Because Michelina, she still had her wedding, her engagement ring, but she wasn't married, and that ring saved her life.
It also could have been a family ring. A lot of women keep their mother's rings on them. You know what I mean? If their mother passes, if they whatever it is, you know what I mean. They have it, even though they're not married themselves. It's a very common thing.
Yeah, and there's nowhere in any of the reports that say that she was wearing the gold ring on her wedding finger. It just said that it was found with the remains. She might have been wearing it on a different finger. It might have slipped off. But that's kind of where I land on this one. A lot of people say like, why was her hand severed if this was that kind of case? It's also speculated that her hand was not cut off deliberately. Her skeleton crumbled, and wild animals took it out of the tree.
That's totally possible too. I mean, the fact that she was found a skeleton, there's really so much time in between that for stuff to happen.
Yeah, and she's in the elements too. It's not like she's like perfectly preserved in this hollow of the tree. So that's kind of where I lie on this story. I think the simplest answer is probably what really happened. I think she had no family. I think if she did have a kid, she gave it up. And then somebody either she was working and someone took advantage of her, or she wasn't working and that made someone irate.
Yeah. And like you said, the graffiti was probably just like a quote-unquote coworker, you know what I mean? One of her other, like, fellow, like, sex workers that was like, hey, look, she's one of us. Like, we want some answers, but doesn't feel, knowing they're not going to get taken seriously going to the police, so they kind of ask questions in the only way they know how. And like you said, if it's in 2 different towns, it shows they're traveling, which a sex worker might be. Like, the story really does add up. And like I said, the simplest answer usually is the answer. It is fun to speculate, but it fits all the questions, and it really answers why no one came forward, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's not even that nobody came forward. I think people did come forward, and they were just disregarded because of their profession.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. And it's like, we probably could have solved this case if people treated sex workers like real human beings, because they are. But it's just awful. But yeah, I think that the graffiti was done by a coworker. Absolutely. I think they didn't know her real name. I think Bella was probably either her working name or a name that she chose for herself when she came to England. Maybe she was a Dutch immigrant, or maybe she was just from a different part of the UK. But yeah, I think she probably went by Bella or Lou Bella.
Yeah.
And her coworkers didn't feel safe coming forward, being like, who put Bella in the Wych Elm?
Yeah, what an unfortunate end. But I think you swayed me a little bit. I think that is the most likely theory, and I think, like you said, as much fun it is to speculate, that's the most likely.
Yeah. And so, yeah, her body going missing, very suspicious. You know, if we're going the spy angle, lines up perfectly. But if she's a sex worker, her body just wasn't treated with respect. It wasn't buried. Yeah. She was never buried.
Or like you said, it was during a war. Like, literally, like we've seen before, things happen. Bodies go missing. Entire buildings go missing during the war. Like, you know, this stuff happens. So yeah, there is that, like, benefit of the doubt a little bit there too.
Yeah. But that's where I stand on Bella and the Wych Elm. I'm, you know, if anyone else has got any more theories, I would love to hear them.
Absolutely.
This story has been near and dear to my heart. But I think, yeah, that's where Bella is. That's where Bella's not. That's where the story ends.
Wow. Like you said.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
With all the questions left unanswered, that is the story of Bella, and I'm really glad that you told it. I'm so glad that we get to add this to the Spookery library, truly, because this was just such a fun story.
There you go. Well, thank you for just, like, listening to me talk about Bella for a bit, because it's a wild story. It's a very frustrating story because it's so unsatisfying. There's nothing that came from this, and it's not even it's an unsolved mystery of who she was. It's literally an unsolved mystery from start to finish. We don't know who she was. We don't know the life she led. We don't know what caused her. We don't know who killed her. We don't know anything. So,
yeah. But it feels like the least we can do to at least tell the story and talk about it. You know?
Yeah, and you know. Who knows? Maybe we'll have an update one day going, Bella found, and now we can do some DNA testing.
God,
on our girl.
Could
Bella.
you imagine? That would be unbelievable.
Yeah, I definitely think she deserves to have her identity revealed. I feel like everyone should really know who Bella is.
Right? That's like the least any human deserves, right? Is to just have your name told, to be identified as who you were.
Yeah. So we'll find you, Bella.
Yeah.
You're out there somewhere.
I have my hopes still.
I think so. One day.
One day.
Maybe hopefully in our lifetime we'll know who put Bella in the Wych Elm.
Stay tuned, Spookery listeners, for the next episode.
But yes, my gosh, that was my unsolved mystery. That's it.
Wow.
That's all I have. That's 12 pages of notes right there.
Wow. No, it was such a great story, and man, I really am. I know I've said it so many times, but just I'm so happy. I'm thrilled even that we were just able to get this added to the Spookery library. It feels so fitting. Like there's been a place on the shelf just waiting for this to be added in. So it feels fulfilled, and I'm really happy that I finally know the story. So thank you so much for telling it. I'm glad that I could. I'm glad that I felt ready to tell this story. I'm glad that the wheel aligned and it was like, it's time. It's time to tell this tale. And like this is the case that Spookery is built on. So the fact that it's officially in the Spookery, it feels good. It feels like a complete puzzle piece. Absolutely it does. Well, with that being said, ma'am, speaking of the wheel, are you ready for your new category?
No, the wheel doesn't like me.
Oh, you had an amazing case. We started with the Muffin Man, and now we are at Bella and the Wych Elm. Like, I think even if the categories you haven't loved, you have made do, and you've shown the love to us, so we appreciate you.
I feel like my luck is about to run out, but I'm hopeful. I hope that The wheel is kind. I hope, please, Spookery Wheel, be kind to me. Don't give me something that's a 3-parter. Don't give me a Bonnie and Clyde. I'm not ready.
It's about that time in the season, though.
It is. We're it fast approaches. What episode 5 gonna be?
Oh gosh.
Who knows?
Right.
All right. Let's spin this wheel. I always get nervous spinning the wheel for myself. For you, I'm just like, it's gonna be amazing. And for me, it's like, oh god.
No, you're gonna get something so good. I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
Spookery Wheel, don't let me down.
Give her cryptids. Give her cryptids.
All right.
What'd you get?
So, my next category is hearts and spades.
Wow! All right.
back here again, baby.
Wow, we get another heartbreak case from our lady in love.
Yes, we get another. The husband did it. We get another.
Wow.
You know what? Okay, hearts and spades. I'll mix it up. Okay. I'll find something. I don't have a. I have to look through my massive spreadsheet, but I'm sure I'll find something.
You got this. You got this. This is a good category. I was not expecting this for you. I gotta say, that really came out of left field. Like I would have guessed
where I thought I was
every other category before hearts and spades. I think. I don't know.
I was convinced I was gonna get cannibalism. I don't know why. I was just like, I've got just a feeling.
Something different. I don't know. But yeah, hearts and spades is great too. I'm not complaining. it's not what I would have guessed.
No, and I think the wheel is like, you've had it too good for too long. You had dealer's choice and unsolved mysteries. Back to where you were. Back to your true crime. Get back into the corner. Okay. You got it, Spooky Wheel.
I know. I'm gonna take us out of this world next week with my extraterrestrial case, and then you'll bring us back down to Earth with some marital squabbles and stuff.
Yes, I have the crimes of passion, as we call them, back where I come from.
Crimes of passion.
Yes. Speaking of out of this world, I don't know if you've landed
Gosh.
On your case just yet. I don't know if you've got something to tease.
I really don't have any teaser. It will be a very outlandish tale for certain. I'm just really
aliens off and on.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. It'll be a really fun case because aliens. How can you go wrong?
I have no starting point. I think I know like 2 extraterrestrial cases because that's not my wing of the spookery at all. So I'm like, you're gonna be like, this happened in Russia, and I'm like, yeah, it did.
See,
you got me.
Like even now, I'm like, man, we can't be alone in the universe. So I'm like, do I believe little green Martian men are out there? Probably not. But is there other organisms, other life out there in any form? Yeah, I do believe that. So
no, I think that's very safe. That's very fair. I'm a bit of a. I'm an on the fence kind of gal where it's like, I definitely believe there's life out there somewhere. Yeah. But do I believe that they're more advanced than we are?
Yeah, who knows?
Or, yeah, who knows?
I'm thinking like little amoebas, like there's like some cells in a little tiny puddle where their water was 5 million years ago. I don't know. Like that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Who knows? Who actually knows?
Who knows? Maybe we'll be the little green Martian men one day. Or maybe we'll be the ones in the spitting disc ships. And abducting alien life forms and alien cows.
I know, I for one would love to be green. So if that option is ever offered to me, I am going to take it in a heartbeat. Are you telling me I can match my plants? Absolutely.
We're gonna teach humans how to photosynthesize. That it's all over from there, baby.
Oh yes, I will be the best Martian. I promise.
We gotta volunteer.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's this story. That's episode 3 of season 2 for Hearts and Spades.
Gosh.
In 2 weeks, and fucking aliens next week.
Gosh.
Holy fuck,
I know, this season is going by in a flash, and it has such variety, such pizzazz. Like, we're gonna be on season 3 before you know it.
You know, you can't stop the march of time.
It marches ever forward. Man, it was, yeah. When you said Una earlier, I was like, Una? Honest?
Una? Honest?
I was waiting for that last name. Oh.
No. Mossop. But, ma'am, thank you for just coming to my plant facts and my TED Talks and my Bellas and my Witch Elms. I'm so stoked I could tell you that story. I really, really am.
Oh, me too. Thank you so much for telling it. Thank you so much for doing the research and just making it such a beautiful and yet informative case. Truly. I feel like I didn't know we were so educational, but apparently we are.
We were featured on Amazon Music in the educational tab, so I think we are very educational.
We are. We really do put a lot of effort into our research and fact checking and just making sure that the stories we tell are just that, informative and entertaining. Those 2 things are our main goals.
There you go. But I think on that note, where can they find us, ma'am?
For any extra content outside of the actual podcast hours, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, at Spookery Podcast. Or if you want to shoot us an email, you can do that where?
You can do that at spookerypodcast@gmail.com. We're also, all of our episodes are up on YouTube if you would like to watch us there. And guys, if you're liking season 2 so far, if you're liking Spookery, if you got through season 1 and season 2 and you're like, you know what, these gals, they're pretty cool, consider leaving us a 5-star review. We are reviewed on Spotify, we're reviewed on Amazon, we're reviewed on Apple Music. If you guys like it and you want more of it, we would really, really appreciate it. It helps us with the podcast algorithm.
Absolutely. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, leave us a review, all of the above. We do appreciate any feedback. So just let us know how you're feeling. Let's say it nicely.
And let me know where the Wych Elm is.
Yes.
Is it still there?
Please.
I need to know.
We await your responses.
Yes, please let me know. I need to know.
We need to know.
I can't end this season without knowing.
All right.
Well, on that note, until next time, everybody.
Stay spooky. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Right. So, of course, people naturally... I'm going to start that sentence again. I don't know where I was going with that. So...